Hey team, Richard Tubb. I'm here in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I'm joined today by Dan Scott. Any background there in the Scottish heritage? Or?
Do you know what? I haven't got a clue. And I really should know. We'll say yes for the purposes of where we are.
Well, Dan works with IT Nation and specifically the Evolve communities, and I'm here today for the Evolve peer group. I'm really flattered. Dan, you've invited me along as a guest to join the group. It's been 15 years since I've been at an Evolve meeting. I was one of the founder members as what was known then as HTG 11 in the UK. And yeah, it's been wonderful to see how Evolve has evolved, excuse the pun. But yeah, for anybody not familiar with Evolve, what is Evolve? What is a peer group?
Absolutely. So imagine a board of directors of people who are your peers in the industry. So people that come to support you, to challenge you, to hold you accountable, to help you see the things that, by the way, either we choose not to see, we've all got those things, or we just don't see, and help you to unlock success within your business. So imagine being guided and being given advice about what works and what doesn't work by the people who are there and doing it every single day, running, getting up, running, owning and leading MSPs. That's who we are in Evolve.
I remember when I was an MSP owner, part of Evolve back in the day, one of the best things I ever did for my business, but specifically one of the things that I got from it was accountability. So it can be lonely running an MSP business. Quite often you can get wrapped up in your own ego and think you know best. So tell us about the accountability aspect of these meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the, again, what we hear time and time again from people who come to join the community is when I run my business and there is no one to hold me accountable. Ultimately, everyone is reporting to me. Who holds my hand to the fire? Who's going to make sure that I'm doing the right things? We call it HABU, highest and best use. What is your highest and best use as a business owner? What can you be doing that's going to push the envelope, not just for you personally, but for your team, for your clients, and for everyone who you serve within your community? Who's going to do that for you? Yeah. And in our opinion, there's no one finer than people who are doing exactly the same thing within their own businesses. Yeah. Because quite simply, they have the expertise, they have the knowledge, they have the background, they understand the pressures and the challenges in a way that really no one else ever can.
Yeah.
Unless you're there and doing it. And that's how we drive accountability within our peer groups.
And tell us about the logistics of it. So you've got a room full of what some people might refer to as MSP competitors. We'll talk about that briefly and why that's not the case at all. But what does a typical Evolve day look like? Do you have a facilitator? Do the teams look after themselves? What does it look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So talk you through a meeting. When we talk about a meeting week, as some people might have heard me talk about before, so our peer group meetings are 2 days long. And we meet once a quarter as a community. So 2 days in the room, 9 till 5 or even longer sometimes if a group's got a lot going on and they need to talk about it, in that boardroom setting, getting down to business. So by 9:05 on a day of an Evolve meeting, there are no corridor talks going on because we are down to business with members presenting to their group, with their group asking for clarifying feedback on what they've just presented, and then giving feedback, advice and guidance based on what they've heard. You say your goals are X, we see you doing Y. How do we bridge that gap? How do we help you get to where you want to be? Yeah. We'll also come together for a day of what we call Community Day, which is what we've had today, joined by Sir Clive Woodward, talking leadership, and wow.
Incredible speaker. Yeah. I've seen Sir Clive speak 3 or 4 times now, and each time I learn something new from him. I was going to make the point, actually, I always refer to Evolve as being like the Premier League of peer groups, which is no disrespect to any other, but you've got some of the fastest growing MSPs, not just in UK, but Europe, in the world as a part of Evolve. But who do you go to learn from? Because the further up the chain you go, the more difficult it is to find people who know more. Do you regularly bring in speakers like Sir Clive to...
Every quarter, every single quarter, both through keynote speakers for Community Day and also subject matter experts who join our peer group meetings at the request of the members. It's their time, at the request of the members, in order to bring that expertise into the room for things that challenges that people have or opportunities that they can unlock.
Yeah. Now, for anybody watching this, an MSP, and they're thinking, how do I get involved in peer groups? You and I sat down, we did a phenomenal, and mostly because of you, podcast where you talked about what Evolve looks like in depth. So we'll refer people to that. But perhaps a good place to start would be the big event that you've got coming up in London soon, IT Nation Connect Europe in London, taking place in March. Tell us a little bit about that event, and we talk about very powerful keynote speakers. You've got a great one coming up there.
I know. I wasn't allowed to talk about it for ages, and now I can. It's finally, I've post-it notes on my screen at home on my monitor that's like, do not say these things, because if not, I'll get in trouble. Yeah, so IT Nation Connect Europe, 10th to 12th of March at the Hilton Metropole in London. So if you're thinking, what does it look like to be in a room with my peers, to learn from and to share with my peers, because they want to learn from you too. by the way, about what I can do to become more successful, come to IT Nation Connect Europe and experience community, experience being in a room where you're going to learn from people around you who are doing what you do and are learning lessons on their journey. So today our destinations as business owners and leaders are all different. However, the journeys that we have are always broadly similar. We face similar challenges and we all look for common opportunities. So we can learn around those lessons around from each other. So at IT Nation Connect Europe, we've got over 40 breakout sessions, the majority being led by members of the community, by the way, I think is very important to say, and we all know why. So people sharing their stories, their lessons and their expertise with the community, and a guest keynote by none other than Mr. Daniel Jewell, Diary of a CEO podcast guest, published author. Special shout out to the book Key Person of Influence, which has been very influential on me and has really helped me in my career. And Daniel is going to be coming to talk to us about oversubscribed. Stop chasing your clients and get them chasing you.
Yeah,
And
you
I
have,
think that
you have
resonates with us
hit
all.
the gold mine there with that keynote speaker. I've got to say, if you've not come across Daniel Priestley's work before, incredible speaker.
You're about to be a fanboy. It's probably the best way of saying it. There are two types, those that don't and those that will, if you know what I mean. He's incredible.
So IT Nation Europe are coming up 10th to 12th of March in London. Highly encourage you to get involved. So you don't have to be a part of IT Nation at the moment to come along to that.
Not at all.
It's open to MSPs. You're going to find the best, the greatest and the good in the industry there, and me and Dan, and everyone else. So all joking aside, phenomenal event. Go and check that one out. But yeah, thank you for inviting me along here today. It's my first Evolve event in 15 years. Mind blowing. I've really, really enjoyed it. So I really appreciate it, mate. Thank you. Cheers.